Hi, I'm Rose from In Rose's Garden, and it's good to be back here on Rising Stars. I was missing for quite some time. Um, in case you didn't know, when I did my last Rising Stars video on February 1st, I thought I had the beginnings of a cold. It was not. It was the beginning of COVID-19, and I was sick for almost a month, so I was out for quite some time. I am much better now, feeling almost up to par. A few little things sticking around, but not anything that's really keeping me down. So it's really good to be back. If you want to check out other things that I've made other than this one we're going to make today, we're going to make a necklace, and if we have time, a pair of earrings to match. And we're going to be using across the pond bead strand and some little Toho seed beads and some mint crystal Czech beads, and I think it turns out really pretty, and I hope you like it as much as I do. If you want to check out anything else of mine, my Etsy store is www.etsy.com/shop/inrosesgarden. Anyway, let's turn down and get to work. Thanks. Okay, so here is what I got in my package from JJB. I've got some chain reaction in gold, and it looks like a dark brown. That's number 5. We got some chain reaction in silver and green. That's number 25. We've got some Czech fire polish 8mm crystal mint. Those are pretty, aren't they? We've got another individual little package here. Let's get this open. There it is. Which has a little box of 3mm gray Czech glass. I love this little, that they put it in this little box. Keep them much safer that way. And looks like some number 11 Tohos in a green. And then we have 2 bead strands. Let's see, does this one say what one it is? I don't see a title for this one. This one is white, silver, and clear. And then this one has got some greens and golds. And my original plan was to use the silver, but I think I'm going to use gold and use this strand here. So we'll put the other strands away for right now, and the silver chain reaction, maybe we'll come up with something to do with those later. Now, because I tend to use more than the one chain reaction, I checked my stock, and I do have another number 5 chain reaction just in case I need it for what we're making. And so we'll break these open in just a second and get to work on them. Now, I have been out of town for a little while, and while I was out of town, I sort of did a little sketch of what I think we want to do here. So we're going to, I've got this done up 2 different ways, one with chain here and one with more of a, in case I used a different bead with a wire wrap through here. But we are going to use a cage bead since we're using silver, I mean gold. The silver one I couldn't find a cage bead, but of the size I needed, but the gold I can. So here is a gold bead, which we're going to put on chain below this bead here. And then we're going to make some necklace up the side. So let's cut this apart and get to work on it. Of course, the first thing we're going to need to do is break open this bead strand and the package of the crystal mint beads. So let's just cut this sucker loose. I know it makes a lot of you folks cringe when we do that, but gotta do it. Gotta do it. So I'm only going to use this bigger one here. So we're going to put this one aside, as well as these. I don't think I'm going to use these. And we have to decide how we're going to put this together. I think I like these bead caps on these big guys here. I think maybe we'll put, well, let's get the crystal mint beads open first here, and we'll then worry about how we're gonna string this baby up. Now, one of the things I like to do, because I'm rarely using everything, is I cut this little tag off that tells me what these are, and I will put it in the baggie or case that I put these in with the beads, and that way if I should need some more of them for some reason, I know what I'm after. And if it's a mix, then I know what mix I had as well. So we'll keep this aside for when we put these together. Let's put these in a tray. There's quite a few beads in this little package. So I'm thinking that as I say, this one's going to go in the middle. There's a bead trying to escape there. Interesting. There's only 3 of that bead. Normally they have an even number. Yeah, looks like only 3. Anyway, so then this is going to hang down below it. We're going to put some chain from either side of our wire, and then this cage bead, isn't that pretty? Look how shiny that is, will dangle below it here. Okay, now that we're getting started on this, I think the first thing I'm going to do is break this chain reaction open so that we can put the chain onto this beautiful caged bead, because this needs to go on so that we can hang it off the beading thread below the stone here. And since I want this just one link here so that the brown stone is here, but not too close to the other stone, we're going to take the links right here, cut it off here, and over here on this side. And then we'll put this aside. Okay. Now that we've got that cut, we need to thread it through our caged bead. Now these have a big enough hole that the crystal will go through it. You just got to work it till it decides to go through both sides. There we go. And now that's through, and it'll sit right here and hang down below our main bead like this. Next up, we're going to start deciding our pattern and stringing this. I got into my beads and my Jessie James beads. I believe this is one of my vintage ones. I'm going to break it open because I want a couple of these dark brown so they'll match the chain reaction. So we'll cut this open. By the way, I have no idea what this strand is. This green one was called Across the Pond. I think I might keep these gold beads as well. Then just put these aside. Because I just want the brown ones and the gold. So that we have brought a little brown in to match the chain. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to decide how we're going to make this pattern. I'm thinking we're going to take one of these little gold spacers, put on either side of the green one. Then I think one of these small green ones. Get out of the way, babies. Then this grayish colored one with these bead caps. And I'm thinking these. I need to see if I can find some bead caps for these brown ones, I think. I'd like some the same as these, but I'm not sure that I have any in any of my stuff. I'll have to check that. Okay, after a little searching, I did find these really pretty daisy spacers in my Life's a Peach mini mix. And now I buy these cases like this myself, and when I break open one of these little cases, I tend to put the beads in these, and then I have them on a shelf above my head. So that makes it very helpful to find things. And I have thought about it, and I think we're going to change the gray ones for the brown ones down here, and then we'll put the gray ones up closer to where we're going to connect the chain at. So that will be right here. I tend to like my bigger stones towards the bottom so that everything as far as weight is concerned stays down here a little bit. Then we're going to put one of these guys in here. I'm not sure we're going to use this. I really like this color. It's really pretty, but I just don't think it goes as well as I want to. So we're going to put those aside as well. Now we got these two little, we got these big ones too, but I'm not sure I'm going to use them. We'll just leave them until I make that decision. This is the extra bead. We have our two more little tiny metal spacers here. Then, now that we're going up the line here, I'm going to put some seed beads in. We'll put, oh, I don't know, maybe 5, and go down close, baby. And then a couple of these little gray ones, two on either side. with one of these in between. And since we're going to do that, nah, that's fine. Okay, I've got some Chrysoprase, no, it's fluorite, soft flex beading wire, and that's what we're going to string on. So anyway, we need to get a length of, come on, baby. Now I'm going to work off the spool until I decide if I've got a length that I care for. But I'm going to put a bead stopper down here so they don't run all the way down to the spool. So to start this out, we'll want, I think we'll go with 5. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good. But then we need some spacers for around these. So I have a whole drawer of them over here. Let's see. These are a pretty one. Little spacer, then a gray bead, another spacer, the mint, let's see how this is looking so far. Let's see, that looks cute. Spacer, gray, spacer, and then 5 more of the seed beads. When you're working with seed beads, put them on the mat and let them work for you getting them up, because it's so much simpler than trying to work them. Put them over here. And then we'll start our pattern here. See how we're looking here. I pretty much like that. Okay. Now, this little guy, one of these 2 little metal spacers, and then we have to put feed our chain onto here. Let's see if it'll, yep, it will. Come on, baby, go down. Then the other spacer. Whoop, come on, baby. Our large stone. See how that's hanging. Little spacer. Bead. The other half of the chain. Let's see how that's hanging. Now that's going to hang a bit. You know, I think I want it over here on the other side of this little green bead. So we're going to move it. But if I move it, then I think it brings the brown too close to this other brown. So we're going to switch these back again, the brown and the gray. So we'll put the brown here. Green. Gray. This little guy. Green. Let's see. Now let's make sure we have don't have our chain kinked when we put the other side on. Oops, that spacer was supposed to go on the other side. So let's get that off and fix that. And again, we want to make sure that our chain is not kinked up when we put it on. So it looks pretty good. Now let's put the last little pattern on. And then we'll decide if we want to add anything more. Come on, Rose. Don't drop your beads. Gray. Spacer. Crystal. Come on, baby. There we go. And there we have it. The whole pattern is done, and we will give it a look-see and see if we want to make any changes. Okay, so let's see how it's going to hang here. Okay, got the, yep, that's a nice distance. I like that. The crystal. I think I want something on the ends here, some gold. Maybe we'll try these gold beads that were with the brown. Oh yeah, I like that. So so this is the last we're going to put on here. So before we crimp this onto the chain, so I will clip my wire on the other side and add that bead. So just clip this off. Oop. I must have a bad notch in my, I'm getting one. So we can put our fluorite soft flex away. I do believe that Jesse James sells soft flex. I'm not sure if they have fluorite or not. It's a really pretty light green. So this crystal wants to keep falling sideways, but it will move to where I want it to. So, oh yeah, it's hanging where I want it right now. Okay, so put this other bead on here. And there we have the beaded portion of our necklace. I like to put the chain in here you can hang any kind of focal down from the chain. You could also put some more dangles in here if you wanted to wire wrap and go through these little loops here. The chain reaction has very small holes on it, so if you want to hook it with jump rings, it needs to be a small jump ring so that it will go in better. But yeah, I think that looks good. So now we want to put, let's get these seed beads out of the way before we have them all over the floor. And yes, I'm notorious for dropping things all over the floor. So it's not quite the pattern I made, but it's pretty close. It works. It's going to do what I want. So now we're going to hang the chain on it. We need to decide how long we want the necklace to hang. And then put the chain reaction on. I know the piece that I cut off to put down here, the other piece is probably not going to be long enough for what we want. Right now, this is about 8, and then of course 6 with this, but this doesn't count because this is where it's going to go around your neck. So yeah, so we need, depending on where we want this to hang, we need at least, I'd say, another 6 inches of chain up either side. I'm thinking I want this to hang about to my right down so that this hangs right by my cleavage. So I think we need to add about probably the whole of one chain or most of one chain. So we'll take this baby out of here. Isn't this a pretty color? I think this actually has a name, but it just says it's number 5. So And don't throw away your other chain after, you know, you cut it up. Those pieces make great earrings, or you can even use them as a piece for a bracelet. If you want to make a multi-strand bracelet, it makes a great little accent for one. And this is quite a big piece anyway. This piece I'm just going to cut in half. Let's see where find the, there it is. Because this always ends with this, we're going to cut this off and just roll this one off of the, and then we'll cut it in half. Let's see. Which is going to end at a bead. I think we'll take it this way instead because I want, yeah, we're going to cut it here because I want this bead down by the bottom. So we'll cut it off right here so that we keep the crystal. And we're going to do the same over here, but we're going to, I did want to keep this crystal, so we'll just work it off the ring. This is where your fingernails come in handy. Pull it loose and put it aside. Okay, now these are going to attach down here on either side. And then we'll cut that last link out up there to put our clasp in, which I tend to like to use a magnetic clasp if I can, or a toggle clasp that has a bent bar. I like the bent bar because it curves around your ring and makes it hold a little better, well, in my opinion. So anyway, I got to get some crimp beads and we'll crimp this baby into place. Well, I should have some gold ones in here. There's my gold ones. Now these are Softlex crimps, though I gotta tell you, if I'm not using Softlex, I'm using Beadalon, and in my opinion those are the only two brands worth using. They're a lot stronger. If you buy the cheaper ones, they easily break. I used to use those, and if I got mad at something, I didn't like the way I put it together, I would just break the bead, and it was that simple. With the Beadalon or the Softlex crimps, you can't break the bead. It's very hard. And so make sure you got it the way you want it, because once you get these on, they aren't coming off. Unless you cut the wire itself and restring. So anyway, I'm going to use the magical crimpers. I don't know if you folks have seen magical crimpers before. They've got a weird little divot in them that you put the bead in and squish it. So we will do that. Oops. So put the crimp bead on, or the crimp tube, I should say. Now this side, you can just push it up to wherever you want it, how tight, ever tight you want, and then make sure your wires aren't crossed, which they are right now. Okay. Get it the way you want it. And so with these, you see the little divot, you put the grip right into it and squish, and then turn it, squish it some more. Go all the way around it. I could use 1 or 2 more squishes. If I had went around one of the cheap ones and squished like this, it would have been broken by now. So let's see if the bead will go through the wire, and it will, but I'm sure that the seed bead won't. So this is where we cut the wire off. Make sure you get the one you want to cut off. And incidentally, I should have held that, but since I'm by myself, I'm not too worried about it. Okay, now when we hook the other side, we've got a lot more wire here, but we also have to be careful when we put it on that we don't over tighten it or that we don't leave a lot of excess wire hanging. Okay, I've got stuff in my way here. Just a second. Get my things to the side here. There we go. Okay, now we put the tube on, go through the chain. Now, as you can see, I'm going to have a lot of excess wire here, and that's just fine. Go through this. And pull her up tight. Okay, we got a lot of movement here, so that's good, but we don't have a lot of extra wire. So I think we got it pretty good, so now we want to crimp it again. Make sure I get it in there. A tug test. Looks like we're good. Cut this excess off. Be careful and cut the right wire. And now we just need to break the chain up at the top and put on the toggle or the magnet, whichever I decide. Okay, now we're going to cut it and put a toggle clasp on. I have chosen this top toggle clasp. As I said, it's got a bow, so when it goes through, it's holding with the sides here. So I really like this kind. And because this is chain reaction and it has small holes, we're going to need some small gold jump rings. I use oval jump rings. I got a whole case of them here. Get a couple out. And then we need to, I think this is the centerpiece. Got to make sure because we don't want to cut the wrong spot. Yeah, that's the center. So we cut this link out. We'll put that little baby aside. Get rid of our trash. And we need to put our clasp on. So you need 2 pair of pliers. I tend to use just 2 of the same type, though you could use a flat nose or a curved. like I say, these have to go in this little hole. It's very tiny. So that's why I use these little tiny jump rings. These are ovals. You don't have to use ovals. You could use rounds if that's what you prefer. I prefer ovals because the break is on the one of the long sides, and that way the break stays on the side, and your pieces, because of their weight, fall into the thinner spots, and so you don't have as much chance of like your chain getting to that, it rolling to that spot, and then your chain working its way out of that. So anyway, that's why I use an oval. I think they're much more secure, but you know, it's your preference. I did notice this one was up a little bit, so we will give it a teeny squeeze down. Nope, that didn't get it. See the little hump I'm talking about there? There we go. So now we need to put the other side on. Now always twist side to side. Never pull them apart, you know, jerking this way. You want to take your second one and just give it a twist. Through the hole. Through the clasp. And tighten her up. That's good. And our necklace is finished. We'll put it on a bust in a bit, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, we're going to put this aside right now, and I think I have enough time to make some quick little earrings too. My original plan was to make some wire bridges and then put some stuff in, and I'm not sure if we're going to do that. You know, but we might. Let's see what we're going to do. Okay, we don't want this piece. We want a piece with a crystal in it. So maybe we'll... Do we have 4 crystals? Oh, we do, but that crystal is down at the bottom. Do we want to do it that way? Yeah, we can do that. Of course, I'm going to be more or less destroying the rest of this chain because we won't have any crystals left. It'll all be little bits and pieces of metal, but that's all right. I'll use them, trust me. Okay, so we cut this link, put that aside. Let's see, 2. Come on, Link, why are you? There we go. Come on. Open. There we go. As you can tell, I use my fingernails for a lot of things. I have cut them recently because they get too long and then they become a problem. They get in the way. Anyway, so we have all kinds of little extra pieces here, which we'll put aside. And then we have these, which will go here. Then I need to make a little wire bridge for them. So we need some gold wire. Let's see. I'll have to find my gold wire here. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to use some 18 gauge wire for this. We're just going to make a little looping bridge on the bottom. I was thinking of doing a double one. I don't know. I'll think about it. So anyway, we need to cut some wire, but we don't need an atrocious lot. Just, oh, that's probably plenty. I like to make sure my ends are flush and this one's not, so we will cut that little piece off. And then we'll do the same here and measure this. To this, see if it's the same size, and then go over here and cut it off the spool. Come on, baby. And we'll set that aside. So now that we have these two little pieces of wire cut, we're going to turn the ends into loops and hook these onto them. And I may have gotten a little more wire than I wanted, but that's all right. I'll get bell making pliers. We'll use the bigger end of this side. Twist. Since I'm not putting any beads on it, I can do the other side right away. And I think this is bigger than I wanted. But let's turn the other one first so that we can cut them at the same time, so we make sure that we get them the same length. And you might be asking me, well, why are you turning it then? Well, we're going to cut it inside one of these loops, possibly the whole loop, and we want to make sure that we're cutting the same amount off. And this looks like it's a little bigger. No, it's just got a bow in it, more of a bow. Let's see. And now that one has more of a bow, so it is a little bit bigger. So we'll trim a little teeny weeny bit off right now. And so how I do that is I go into the loop and I just cut that little bit off, put my bell making pliers back on and twist it back. Now let's see if it's the same again. Okay, looking pretty good. Now, we're going to round these, so we may not need, well, let's see, where are you? Okay, so we went and got my round wire mandrel. I'm gonna bend this wire around it to make it into a more of a U shape. Do both. And let's see how far apart that makes those. Are they gonna, do they need a little bit off or no? I don't think it would hurt them to be just a little bit smaller. So we'll go into our circle. And this one bent a little bit when it was doing its thing. Okay. As you can see, they're pretty much close. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the ends off of I'm going to cut the whole circle off. We're going to make it that much smaller. Right inside the, where it butts up against the wire there. You see, I cut that circle off. Now we'll take our bell making pliers and make a new loop. Aside. Okay, now it still looks like, oh, well, it's just as wide almost because you just cut the loop off. So we'll go back on here and we'll go up. I think we'll go up 2. In fact, maybe we'll go up 3. So it's much closer together. Straighten her out. So yeah, that'll be better. Now we'll go up here, bend the second one, verify you've got them the same, and put them over here. And we're done with this for right now. Okay, the next step will be to open up the rings so that the chain can slip inside them. And then we'll close them back up. And make sure your rings touch the wall of your bridge, because these little chains are thin and they will slip off of them if you don't. Okay, so we're going to want it to hang this way. So there we go. Now you could hang a charm off of this little bridge if you wanted to, or you could put beads on it. I used 18 gauge, so I probably wouldn't put small beads on it because 18 gauge is pretty thick wire. If you're going to put beads on the bridge, I would use a 20. Okay, so we have that. And there we go for this portion. Okay, the next step is I've got a couple of ball head pins. Straighten them out because they tend to get bent frequently in shipping. These are 3-inch. You don't need 3-inch. I like to work with 3-inch because it gives me a lot more room. I always wire wrap the tops of my bead strands, so the 3-inch gives you plenty to wire wrap. Now we're going to put a set of beads like we did on the necklace, the seed beads, the gray bead, and the crystal beads up this wire to dangle in between Oops, that was a lot more than I wanted. Really only think I need about 4, but we'll leave that many out. Anyway, so get your 5 seed beads. Come on, baby. The spacer. Yeah, drop things. The gray bead. Spacer. Oh, come on, you. Mint crystal. Spacer. Gray bead. Spacer. And your seed beads. Okay, so then that'll hang down in the middle like that. Let's make up the second one, then wire wrap and put these together. Four, 5. Come on, baby. Spacer. Gray. Spacer. Crystal. Spacer. Gray. Spacer. Come on, spacer. You know you want to go on there. And then the seed beads. And then there's the second one that'll go right in there. Okay, so now we'll wire wrap the top of these two. Just bend, get your round nose, put them in the slot, go around, let them fall, and then twist. I tend to use my pliers to do this. I think it makes a neater, more uniform wrap generally, and a little tighter. But it's up to you. Do you want to use the if you want to use your fingers to do it, by all means, go for it. Now, when you tighten this up, be really careful because your seed bead is glass. Okay, now we need to straighten because I bent it a little bit. See? Straighten that up. And perfect. So then into there. So this will go here. Get the second one done. Looks like I got the bend in this already. Okay. Over. Put this needle nose to the side. Use round nose up and over. Let it slide down. And get your pliers out to do your wraps. I usually try to do 4. It looks like this one wants to do 5. The other one did too, so in there close. Come on, baby, in there close. Snip off the wire. And carefully tuck. And then see if you're straight. Yep, we're straight. Okay. Next, we're going to put these babies together. So we'll need some small jump rings and one large jump ring in gold. Now, I'm thinking, even though we normally don't need it, of putting a small jump ring in the middle piece too, because I want it to dangle just a little bit more than it's going to as it sits. Got a piece of trash wire in there. So let's get these jump rings on all the pieces. Now my original plan, like I said, was to put 2 loops, but one was hanging down below this one, and actually 2 center dangles. But we're going to do it this way, with just the one of either. Now you could do the 2 easily, and you could do the 2 bridges, you could do the 2 dangles. You could hang a dangle from the bridge, a charm of some kind. You don't want to put a big dangle down there probably, but you could put a charm in there. That would look cute. And if you want to put a charm on here, you don't even you could wire wrap it, and you don't even need to wire wrap to it or put it in a jump ring, because you could just open one of the rings up a little bit again and just slide it around. Oop, that one didn't want to behave at all. Let's work it up. So when they come apart too much, you can squiggle them back and forth carefully until they come together with a little bit of inner pressure till they come together. Okay, now we have all of the pieces put together, and I'm going to put these away so I don't knock them all over the place. Those little gray crystals are so cute. I would hate to lose one of them. And I'm notorious for knocking things on the floor. Okay, I've got 2 large oval jump rings and 2 lever back ear wires. I like the lever back because they They come open like this, and then when they close, they cage, and your ear wires still fall out. Now I want large for here because we're going to be putting all of these little pieces into this. Again, just twist to side. Now when you put these together, hold them down like this, because then you can see how your and it fell out. What a surprise. Okay. Down. One. Now hold them up and make, darling, you're not supposed to fall off like that. Back on. Okay, now when you hold them up, they shouldn't be kinked. So that's not, so we'll put the ear wire on and close it up. And that's how it's going to look, like this. Now we'll put the second one together. Now if you don't hang them like that when you do them, you can put the second one on backwards and it'll give you a giant kink-like look when you try to hang them. Okay, and there are our earrings. Like I say, you could put a dangle here as well. You could put more than one dangle in the center. But as they sit right there, they match the necklace with the brown beads and this pattern here, as you can see. So there we go, our necklace and earring set. I'm sorry about that, I didn't mean to bump the camera. After thinking about it for a little bit, I decided I am going to put a dangle on the bottom. And how we're going to do that is I've grabbed another head pin or eye pin. Nope, this is a head pin, sorry, ballpoint head pin. We'll seed bead here, and then we're going to use these bigger crystal balls like this little one here, and a seed bead on a green seed bead on the bottom, and a little gray crystal on the top, and we're going to make these little dangles like this for going on the bottom. Bead on the crystal ball, whatever you want to call this, and the little gray one, and then we're going to wire wrap that. I could have just used the crystal ball, but I was afraid that because it has a bigger hole that the wire wraps would just go through it, so I put the gray crystal and the green seed bead on, and besides that brings it up matching more. That twist is not in the right place. Come on, baby, get up there. There we go. And there. Right there. I once was clipping one of those wires. Was not paying very good attention to where I had the clippers at, and clipped the loop as well as the regular wire. Something you need to be careful of. Where are your clippers clipping? See, we're gonna hang this down here off the bottom down here, which makes it be a long earring, but hey, I like long earrings. Baby. Oh, again, I got it down a little. If your wire wrap slips a little bit, as long as you've got room to get your pliers in, you can bring it up. Tuck it and straighten, because this is a little crooked. You want your loop to be pretty straight because this is going to hang like this, so you don't want a crooked loop when you're hanging down things. Okay. All right, now, next step. If we had decided we were going to do this prior to this, we could have done this before we put this together. It would have made it easier, but it's all right. Now, make sure I've got this wire going on the right way. I don't want to have to take it apart. Looks like it is. There. There's this one finished, and we'll do the other one. Open your wire bridge. Take this one out, keeping it straight in your hand like this so you know which way it came. Slide this back on. Go over there. Now take this one. Slide it back on. Check it. Make sure it looks like it's still straight. I think it is. Twist this back in place. Bing. And yes, it's fine. So now our earrings are finished. Okay, now that our necklace and our earrings are done, here is a look at it on the bust. And I hope you like that. I thought that was a lot of fun to make. And we'll see you soon. Bye.